name's Alex Stoyle. I own Revelstoke Coffee here in Concord, New Hampshire with my wife, Lindsay. And last year we decided to start a little Cars and Coffee called Cars and Coffee on Capitol, and it is totally blown up. So obviously I didn't invent the concept of cars and coffee. They exist all over the world, but you know, in its purest form, to me, Cars and Coffee is just a group of people who all love the same thing, getting together in the morning. And I always thought that that would be a fun thing to do with like me and 10 of my friends. And so I invited 10 of my friends. I said, let's do a Cars and Coffee. And it accidentally exploded into what we're doing today. So what got me into cars? I was always a vintage motorcycle guy, and a few years ago, before we opened Revelstoke, I was in a pretty bad motorcycle accident. Shortly after we opened Revelstoke, and then shortly after that we got a dog. And once we had a dog, I was like, I can't bring the dog on the motorcycle as our family. So I've got to find another mode of transportation for the three of us. So I bought a 1974 Fiat Spider convertible 124 and had a tiny little back seat for our dog and my wife and I. And really that launched me into loving cars. And that car in particular was a horrible piece of crap that was always breaking. And while it drove me crazy, I also loved the adventure of it. It turned like going to get milk into a true trip. And I didn't know how long it was gonna take me, if the car was gonna break down, or if I was gonna have to walk home, but it made it fun. So I really loved that car, even though it was a challenging vehicle. There's a lot of challenges associated with a growing event. I invited like a few of my friends and put it on a few Facebook groups to start. And at our first event, we were completely full within 15 minutes. So we shut down another street. At our second event, we were completely full within 15 minutes. So we did it that way for all of last year, and every event we had was just packed full. Too many people, not enough food, not enough parking spaces. So this year we went back to the city and they actually let us shut down one of the main streets in Concord. It's called State Street. And we shut a chunk of that down now. And even then we're completely full. I heard someone say recently that Cars and Coffees start, they grow, and then they get shut down. And I think I can definitely see where that's coming from and how that happens. I think one of the benefits about our location here is that we're right in a downtown area. We are very constrained by the space that we have. And so we really can't grow too much, where if you're doing it in one of these parking lots that's endless space, you can get 5,000 cars show up. But when 5,000 cars show up, what do you do with 5,000 people? You need amenities, you need bathrooms, you need food, you need water, you need police getting people in and out safely, and it gets really out of control very quickly. And I think we're kind of lucky in our location because we have these natural boundaries that we need to figure out how we can maximize them. But at some point, it's like we're just going to run out of space, and it's going to be a good thing for, I think, the longevity of our event and the safety of our event. So why do we put on Cars and Coffee? I think, and the financial aspect of it, my wife and I at our business here at Revelstoke Coffee and now in Cars and Coffee, we've always kind of let our hearts lead first and then kind of figured out the financials secondarily. And that's always worked for us. It's like, what would we want as people? What would we want as customers? And what's cool? And we kind of let that drive the ship. And then we are trying to build the financials around that. So when it comes to the Cars and Coffee right now, if I was to figure it out, I would probably guess that it increases our sales here a little bit at Revelstoke. We're certainly pretty busy on even a normal Sunday. So We get maybe a little bit busier on these Cars and Coffee Sundays. But if I was to guess, I'd say these events probably cost $500 to $1,000 per event. The expense of the event is always kind of secondary to what it brings to the community for us. But it's incredible marketing. It's great for our region and our city to show people how beautiful it is here. And really, we look at it as a long-term investment in our business and in the city and in the people of our community. So we just have a great time with it, and we're not as worried about the expense as the love, as corny as that sounds. That's my favorite thing about Cars and Coffee is the diversity of the cars that show up. We have supercars parked next to Civics, parked next to beautiful old muscle cars and antiques. It's just so fun to see this show as kind of an equalizer, where it doesn't really matter how much your car costs, it doesn't matter how fast it goes, it just matters that you love it and that you're passionate and proud to show it. That's kind of our tagline. If you're proud to show it, we'd love to see it. And so honestly, I love how we can pair up these crazy expensive aspirational cars next to kids who are just getting into their first car and building it and fixing it. And they're talking to each other and they're mixing, and the kid is looking at someone else and maybe saying, I want to be there someday. And now they know they have a network. They have a network of other car lovers, and they can see a path to get there. So I think what we're creating is just a community of people who love cars. If you're willing to show up and put yourself out there, there's something here for everyone. At the event, it's kind of funny though, because sometimes I want to look at these cars and talk to people and I don't get to, because I'm like running around with a walkie-talkie and I have so many people who want to come up and say hi and thank you, and they're so happy and so positive to be at the event that I don't have enough time to spend talking to each and every one of them. But I really just am so thankful that so many people are showing up and are so happy and finding a community there and finding a little bit of a peaceful place and a place where they can share their passion and get excited together. The future for Cars and Coffee, I think, is bright. I have a few ideas that I'm still kind of mulling over, and the more involved I get in the existing car community here in New Hampshire and New England, the more ideas I get. But the most exciting development is this September, we're actually gonna be shutting down all of Main Street here in Concord for a citywide car show called the Main Event. We have Grapponi Automotive Group presenting that as our main sponsor, and we expect a lot of cars rolling out and a huge show, food trucks, music, obviously coffee, and obviously a lot of beautiful cars.